Hello everyone, this is Patty Behan and I want to thank you for watching today. In this video we're going to make this beautiful painterly tag using Dina Wakley Media Scribble sticks, and I'm going to show you a variety of ways to use them. We'll also be using some of our collage paper and stencils, gesso, and we're going to stamp with paint. So let's get started. Okay, to start, if you're not near a sink, make sure you have a larger container of water to clean your stamps and stencils and a cup filled with water to clean your brushes. And what I have here is a sheet of Dina Wakley collage paper, and there's a shiny side and a rough side, and we're going to be working on the shiny side. And we're going to do all of our stamping first, and I'm going to take these 3 words here and we're eventually going to cut them out, so you want to space them on your stamping block here so there's room to do that. And then I'm going to take our archival ink in jet black and ink up those sentiments. And then once that's done, we're just going to stamp it onto the collage paper here. Okay, and you see how nicely the archival ink stamps on the tissue. And we're just going to set it aside to dry. And next, I'm going to stamp our flowers, and I'm using a Dina Wakley Media number 8 white tag, and I'm going to stamp with paint this time. And to do that, I'm using Dina Wakley Night paint. This is like a dark blue, almost black. I'm going to squeeze some out onto the craft sheet, and then I have a mini ink blending tool with foam attached to it, and we're going to put some paint on the foam applicator here, and then you're going to tap it onto the stamp to apply the paint. This way you don't get it all gloppy and you get a nice impression. So you see how great that stamps? And then put your stamp in the water and we'll clean it later. So after I stamp this last one, I'm going to set it aside to dry a second, put your stamp in the water, and also put your foam in the water so you can reuse it later. Okay, so now we're taking this stencil, and this is a shape mashup stencil by Dina Wakley Media. And then we're going to use some white gesso to add some texture to the background of the tag. So I'm going to put a little bit of gesso onto the back of the palette knife, and we're just going to spread this randomly through the stencil. We don't want to fill in all the places in the stencil completely. We want to have a little bit of randomness to it, and then it looks like that. And we're going to set this aside to dry as well, and then I'm going to clean this up and we're going to start painting with our scribble sticks. Okay, now I'm going to color in these flowers with the scribble sticks, and the first color I'm going to start with is Heather. And the trick to using the scribble sticks is you need to get them saturated with water to get them started. You'll find that some colors need more water to get started, or when they're brand new, you need to use a lot of water. So once you see the color start to rub off on the craft sheet, you can go ahead and take a brush, dip it in water, and then stroke the scribble stick with the brush till you get enough paint on there to begin painting. And then I'm just going to go ahead and color in the flowers and use this as my base color for both of them. And once that's done, it looks like this. And now I'm going to go ahead and color in the leaves, and I think that I'll use some lime and then some olive to color in the leaves, and go back in with magenta and just scribble in some color. And I'm going to go ahead and use some blackberry and some heather again. And once you're satisfied, we'll set that aside to dry, and let's work on our background tag. And so this is all dry, and this is what it looks like. and we're going to give this a wash of color with the Scribble sticks. So for this, I think I'm going to start with some sky in the background first, and we'll take that, and then let me grab some peacock, and let's see, the olive. Okay, that'll make a nice background. So let me take the sky first and dip it in the water, scribble it on the craft sheet here, and we're going to take a larger brush since we're working on the background, and we'll get some paint onto the brush and then just make random swipes of color. And then we'll take the peacock and do the same thing, and then add a little olive. And you can just go back and forth until you're satisfied with the colors that you get. And then we'll clean that up, and then we're ready to cut out our flowers. And I see that it's not quite dry, so I'm going to dry it with the heat tool real quick. And then now we can start to cut them out. And I'm going to go ahead and go close to the black line, but you can leave a little white on the edges. It doesn't have to be a perfect cut. Now we'll cut out the other flower, and we'll leave the leaves attached like so. Cut out our words, leaving a little border around the stamp. And now we're ready to put these onto our background. And before I glue those down, I'm going to add some washi tape on the side here. This is from Dina Wakley Media set number 1 of washi tape. And instead of having a straight line, I want to tear the edge a little bit. So I'll just take a little bit off the edge to give it some interest and a little more texture. And then we'll place it down on the side of the tag here. And once I finally get that straight, I'm going to put it over the edge here, and then I'll tear off the bottom extra piece. Get that out of the way, and we'll start to place our flowers and words to see where we want to glue them down. Okay, I think that looks good, and we're going to use the ultra thick gel medium to do that. And we'll need a paintbrush to apply it. So let me get all this extra paint off the brush here. And then we'll put a pretty liberal amount of medium on the back here. And the gel medium is great for gluing down lightweight objects and paper, collage paper and tissue. And if you have a heavier object like chipboard or maybe a metal embellishment, you'll want to use ultra thick gel medium. When using the gel medium on the collage paper, put it on the front and the back, and you'll notice it'll disappear into the background. If you have a dark background, it might not disappear as much, but it's still a cool effect. Now, another thing you can use your Scribble sticks for is to dye a neutral colored ribbon. So I have a 24-inch length of ribbon here, and I'm placing a paper towel down just because it's easier to get off all the extra water. You'll want to use magenta here and get it nice and wet, and we'll use our brush to help us paint the ribbon as well. And as you can see, when you use a lot of water, you can get a nice amount of paint onto the brush. And then just go back and forth. You can scribble on the ribbon. What I'm trying to get here is variations in color rather than one solid color. And then before I put the ribbon on there, I'm going to add some sprinkles of paint on here. So I'm going to use a Tim Holtz splatter brush, and I'll just flick on some magenta here and make sure you get it nice and wet. And we'll sprinkle it on like so, and then maybe we'll use some blackberry as well. Okay, and so this is how it looks after you do that. We'll dry up our ribbon here to place it on. We'll fold it in half, and then we're going to stick it through the front and then pull the tails through that loop here. And then pull it tight. And then we're going to tie a bow at the top. And then you adjust it till you get a nice bow, and that's it. You're all finished. This would make a great addition to a journal page, or put it on a present for a friend, or even put it on a card. So if you'd like to try this project, we have a link to the full supply list in the description box below. And if you'd like to see more crafty videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.